Tell me about just briefly on the influence that your father's had on you.
My dad is probably the first person that really believed in me. That's my dad's biggest legacy in my life is I spent a lot more time with my mom. Obviously, a very traditional African family. My mom was the caretaker. My dad was the sort of earner. So he brought the money in, mommy took care of us kind of thing. So, and then my mom is a very, she likes to talk and, tell you things and share stories. My dad, on the other hand, is quite quiet. So, but I think that even though he may not have identified as such, my dad actually is a feminist because he pushed me and my sisters. My sister is a doctor. I'm a lawyer. My brothers are not even that, they didn't study this kind of courses, So I think the biggest influence my dad has had on me has definitely been from a young age, there was never anything I felt I couldn't do.
Really? I just wanted to understand this because when I've spoken to quite a lot of female leaders and I've kind of dug a bit deeper, I've understood that their fathers have had a very big influence on their ability to kind of just go for it.
Yeah.
And not to wait until you're ready. And I just wonder if your father kind of, when you say pushed you, how did he push you?
I don't even think he pushed me. I think it was just you had the license to push yourself. So whatever I wanted to do, my dad thought was a great idea.
And just said, go for it.
It would just be like, yes, I had all sorts of crazy. There was a time I wanted to be a pop star, I wanted to write.
Oh, right. A pop star. I think everyone's been through that one.
I was going to go into a career in music, and my dad was like, yes,
go for it.
I think that my dad always looked at me and my sister without, and I can't quite put a word to it, without any limits. There were no boundaries of what he felt we could become. And I think inherently, we lived up to that expectation because we never felt we couldn't achieve this, we couldn't achieve that. So while he was a very quiet figure in my life, as against my mom was very vocal, was very sort of present, my dad is sort of like this stoic rock that probably holds our family together.
Right. But he didn't separate you as girls from boys and sort of treat you differently. You were very much
we were very much equal. In fact, we probably had more responsibilities growing up than the boys. I started business at 10, sort of handling, when I was sort of finishing university, I was working with my dad, and I was sort of managing some of his businesses for him. So I probably think my dad probably trusts our judgment more than the boys, to be fair. So no difference whatsoever.
That's I think a big key. I'm going to call this wise women's words. All right, www.
You're like the queen, like acronyms and things.
I know. Queen of quotes.
Raw talks.
Yeah, real authentic women. Yeah, but these are wise words. I do, think that we kind of have to understand where our limitations come from. For a lot of women, it's how we're conditioned, not necessarily how we're born. Yeah. So of course there's stuff that we evolutionary, we can look back and we can highlight, nature. Yeah. But it just demonstrates to me that if you've got someone who's going to push you to not to, as I heard someone say, their father kept saying to them, go out, come back to me when you failed a lot of times.
My dad literally said that to me.
Oh, really?
When I was getting married, I remember that night because in my culture, that night you're gone.
No, I didn't know. Gone where?
You're gone. Once your bride price has been paid.
Oh, right. Not their responsibility anymore.
In-laws have come. They come with some trunkets and some boxes, and you're expected to be gone.
Fine. Okay.
And my husband
pretty
is
harsh.
A completely different region. So it was like a 7-hour travel back to, Lagos. My husband is from Lagos. So my dad came to the hotel and he knocked, and I was like, Daddy, I'm supposed to be gone. And then he pulled me aside and he said, you know, I know that you're going to have an amazing marriage, but don't you ever think you can't come back home. Don't you ever, ever think you can't come back home, no matter where. And he said it to me, I was so poignant. He said,
So
if
lovely.
you look to the front, you look to the back, you look to the side, and you can't find anybody, we will always be here for you.
Ah, love that.
And so I didn't even think, I was just like, I'm not coming back. But you know, looking back now, I realized that I'm just really fortunate to have. There were challenges growing up. Don't get me wrong. My parents had their own struggles, but I think they tried their best. And it's taken me a really long time to recognize that sometimes that's what matters, when parents tried their best.
Yes.
And I think that I recognize that now. I appreciate it now, and
Yeah.
I love them more for it, because I know that even when they got it wrong, they were still trying their best.
Yeah,